Peace and y'all bless. Yah is a strong one. The strong one is Yah. He's a tree of life. He's the fountain of living waters. He's the spirit and creator of all things that live and breathe. On this particular discourse, we're going to talk about the journey to truth. The journey to truth. Truth is a road that many avoid, whether it's in our personal lives, their relationships, all things inclusive. People normally avoid truth because truth is one of the hardest pills to swallow in this life, to find out a truth. That being said, I'm in the book of Isaiah, chapter 38. Let's go to verse 19. The living, he shall praise thee, as I do this day. The Father to the children shall make known thy truth. And you can read about truth all over this book of remembrance. Okay? Truth. Truth is a process. And it is a process that must be traveled correctly. Okay? Because if you miss any parts of it, then there'll be problems. It has a process. And people have to go through their process during their journey to find the truth. If they're truly seeking out Yah, the Holy One of Israel, then He's going to send them on a journey of truth, be it a man or be it a woman. Doesn't really matter too much the age. When they seek out to find Yah, the Holy One of Israel, He is going to reveal His truth to them through His immaculate power. And He will send people sometimes to, or different individuals to those people who are seeking out truth. He will send different individuals into their life path for them to run into to find truth. The truth about God. The truth about life, the truth about death, the truth about a great many things. Okay? But especially the truth to finding out Yah, His truth. Who is God? What is God? What is His name? Psalms 68:4. Yah is His name. And it is the truth. Okay? But there's a process to finding out truth. Let's talk about that. Okay? And let's read this quote first, and then we'll get to that. It says, we are either in the process of resisting God's truth or in the process of being shaped and molded by His truth. Charles Stanley. I'm going to read this one more time. We are either in the process of resisting God's truth or in the process of being shaped and molded by His truth. Remember that all your days that you live. All right. So truth has stages. Because many of us who understand about Yah, the Holy One of Israel, the God of Israel, there is only one God. Okay? Those idols do not exist that men have made up with their own hands. All right? But people have to pass through these 3 stages of truth. Okay? You guys can Google search this. I've known about it for a long time. But sometimes people who understand the total truth of matters, they get excited and they start going trying to tell people about the truth, about God specifically. But they don't do it according to these stages. And when you don't do it according to these stages, you're going to run into big problems. Okay? So, let's get into it. The 3 stages of truth. The process of acknowledging a truth is broken down into 3 stages. So each person will be at a different stage at a different time, okay? The first stage is ridicule. Now I'll read what it says. When a new idea or concept is brought up, it's so strange that it's completely absurd. People cannot fathom this idea and how it fits into their lives. So they simply laugh at how impossible it seems. Okay? It's no different than when I say, hey, I'm the anointed. What's the first thing? Ridicule. No way, get out of here. Because they don't understand how this idea fits into their lives. Because they've been taught that somebody else is this person, or this person's going to come save them, or whatever they've been taught their whole lives. Okay? Or it's the Prophet Muhammad, whatever the case is. Okay? Whatever they've been brought up to believing. Okay? But it doesn't make it the truth. Okay? So you're going to run into ridicule in this first stage right here. Okay? You're going to run into a lot of ridicule when you tell people that Yah exists alone and there is none with him or anyone else beside him. They're going to say, no way, man, that doesn't fit into the idea of my life. That doesn't fit into what I've been taught, because they haven't read the book enough to understand and know that. Or they just haven't received the truth because they have not asked. If you ask Yah, the God of Israel, the truth, he will reveal it to you. I know. That's how I found out. Okay? I just, one day, back when I was calling him God, I said, God, what is your truth? What is your truth about you? What is your truth about life? And from that day forward, my life's been changed. Now, he doesn't always reveal everything to you all at once. Sometimes he'll put, different things in your life path in order for you to find that truth. Or sometimes even different people he'll place in your life path for you to find that truth. I've been placed in a lot of people's life path. Even those listening to me right now. Even those listening to my videos. I've been placed in your life path for you to find the truth. Okay? But naturally, the first thing you're going to do when you hear me is do what? You're going to ridicule, because you're in your first stage. Okay? And then some of you are past that part. You move to the second stage, opposition. You start opposing it. Okay? Because it doesn't fit what you've been taught. Okay? It doesn't fit your lifestyle. It doesn't fit what your mother told you, your father, or your grandmother, or your cousin, or your pastor, or whoever you've been around for your whole life. Okay? So you directly go to the second stage, opposition. And many are jostling between ridicule and opposition. Okay? So let's read about the second stage, opposition. After a new concept hasn't made it past the first stage, right? People begin to worry that it's here to stay. Okay? A few might support the concept, but most will resist because they see it as a threat. You hear that? They see it as a threat to everything they're familiar with. That is so big right there. Okay? Those words. They see it as a threat to everything they're familiar with. So when you tell a person that picture that they drawn up of Caesar Borgia that they call Christ or Jesus is not the Messiah, automatic opposition, automatic ridicule. Okay? Because the idea, the concept hasn't made it past this stage right here. Or if they draw up a black image, they call Yahweh and Yahushua, Yahshua, whatever, the same thing happens. Okay? opposition. Most people are only going to make it to the second stage. They're never ever going to get to the third and final stage, which is the most important stage of all. Okay? So all you people out there, whenever you begin speaking with people about these matters, you need to understand that you're going to run into ridicule and opposition first. Okay? Now those who get lucky enough through the Spirit of God, Yah, the Holy One of Israel, if they get lucky enough to make it to this third stage, then they've struck gold. Okay? The third stage is the truth becomes self-evident. Okay? So let's read it. There is increasing evidence that supports the idea. As you know, we look in the Bible, right? The Old Testament, which goes from having a few early supporters to entering the mainstream. A majority of people support the fact and come to accept it as a given. Okay? That means they went to maybe the Strong's exhaustive concordance of the Bible, and they've gotten some supporting information to support and understand that YHWH is Yah, is the Holy One of Israel, the only and true God. Okay? And that there is no particular person with him that you got to go through to get to him. It's all made up concepts. Okay? That control the mind through what's called religions. And they all do the same thing. If you go research religions, they all got an image. Whether it's a man, whether it's a woman, a baby, whether it's an elephant or a monkey or you know, that big fat man Buddha, or if it's a star or if it's a planet. No matter what it is, every religion always has what? An image for you to bow to or for you to worship. When we read clearly in the book of remembrance, the so-called Old Testament, the God of Israel, the true God, right? That the book states is the true God, right? When you read it, you figure that out. But as he tells you in the commands, you don't bow yourself down to any image or a man or a woman for worship. Okay? Not saying that you can't show reverence in different needed settings, okay? Like if you're visiting maybe Queen Elizabeth or something like that, okay? That's different, okay? You can curse her and keep on going, okay? But you don't bow for worship of anyone, man or woman, okay? But the third stage is the most important stage because somebody or these people who were in stages 1 and 2, they find supporting, increasing evidence that supports the idea. And you're only going to be able to find that if you read the book of remembrance, Genesis to Malachi. Okay? Because see, once you go into that NT, you're going to be back at these, you're going to go automatically back to stages 1 and 2. Because the Old Testament and New Testament are not cohesive books. They contradict each other in so many places. Okay? Number 1, thou shalt have nothing before Yah. Nothing. So there can't be a son in between. And the Most High gives you that very first command, that you have nothing before him. That should be pretty much textbook simple. Bible 101. Nothing before Yah. Well, then you go to the other book, then that creates opposition. Okay? And that's what that does when you start reading it. Okay? It creates opposition because you have two opposing pieces of literature. But what do we believe? Do we believe the God of Israel, the true God? Or do we believe what's in the book? And the key is not to just believe it, it's to find what? The evidence that supports the idea. Okay? What they call the 10 Commandments. Alright? So before you guys get to telling people about truth, you need to understand that they have to run through their process. And as they run through their 3 stages of truth, they'll be somewhere in between these, either at this stage, or the third stage. Okay? Once they reach this third stage, it'll be easy to speak with them and talk with them because you'll be able to understand each other on the third stage level. But if they're at any of these other stages, you're going to run into problems. You're going to do what? You're going to show them evidence that supports your idea out of the book of remembrance, the Old Testament. Okay? Then they'll come and support the fact. Okay? And accept it as given, such as reading the 10 Commands in Exodus. Command number 1, thou shalt have nothing before Yah. And he means literal nothing. Not yourself, not your children, nothing. Not your idol, nothing. Okay? So that's going to be the evidence that supports the idea. Okay? Because that's what the commands ask us to do. All right? So you guys remember this, okay? As you go forward in your crusade, of trying to bring people to understand who the true God is and what he expects out of mankind and each person, you must let them go through their true process. And when you see them getting down to number 3, then you can begin talking with them and giving them more information about it that will support their idea. Okay? But you have to let them ridicule it. You will get opposition. Okay? Because what? They see it as a threat to everything they are familiar with. Because most people have never actually read the Old Testament. They've only been introduced to the New Testament. So when you give them the concepts that come from the law, or what they call the Torah, they see it as a threat. So they're going to do what? Oppose it automatically. When you tell them that there's not supposed to be pictures made up in Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse number 16, go there right now if you need to. Okay? That they're not supposed to be any pictures drawn for worship, then that's a threat to everything they're familiar with. Okay? You got to take them to Deuteronomy 4 and 16 and read that. Okay? That those pictures are not supposed to be posted for worship. Then that's the evidence that supports the idea. See, once they see the evidence that supports the idea, then they get it. Like, oh, okay, I get it now. Well, I didn't know that at first. I didn't know you weren't supposed to paint pictures of men or women. Okay? I didn't know that. This is what you're going to have to do, what I'm about to do right now. You got to grab that person. You got to take them to this book of remembrance. And you got to show them right here in Deuteronomy chapter 4. Okay? Listen very closely. 15 and 16. Take ye therefore good heed unto yourselves, for you saw no manner of similitude. Similitude means image. On the day that Yah spake unto you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire. Then he told the Hebrew Israelites, lest you corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image, the similitude or image of any figure, the likeness of a male or a female. You're not supposed to do that. It can't be in the likeness of a male or a female, or any figure at all, for worship. Okay? Then it goes on and gets even deeper. The likeness of any beast that's on the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flieth in the air, the likeness of anything that creepeth on the ground, the likeness of any fish, okay, that's in the waters beneath the earth. You know, they use that fish in Christianity, right? Okay? Even though it's not a fish, it's actually a vulva. But anyway, then the Most High says, unless thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun, the moon, and the stars, and all the hosts of heaven, wouldst be driven to worship them. Okay? 23. Take heed unto yourselves, lest you forget the covenant of Yah, your God, which he made with you, okay, and make you a graven image, okay, or the likeness of anything which Yah thy God hath forbidden thee. He has forbidden it. He has forbidden that, to do that, okay? For Yah thy God is a consuming fire, even a jealous God, okay? He don't like it. And guess what? He shouldn't, because you wouldn't like it if you were God, okay? Would you? Okay, then. People bowing down to things that are not you. They made up images saying, hey, go worship that. Okay? All right, well, see, that's what? That is the increasing evidence that supports the idea when we tell you Yah is alone and nothing else is to be worshipped but Him. The supporting evidence is what? This right here. Deuteronomy chapter 4. Go read it. Verses 15, 16. Okay? 17, 18 also. And also 23. Okay? You're not to make a graven image, the likeness of anything, doesn't matter what it is, that Yah has forbidden thee to do. Okay? You drive him to jealousy when you do that. Okay? You have to make a similar to, image of any figure, the likeness of a male or a female. Okay? That's the increasing evidence that supports the idea. Okay? Now, when you talk only one thing, then all you see things as a threat. Oh, that's a threat to what I'm familiar with. All I've seen is Jesus, or Muhammad, or whatever, or Krishna, or Vishnu, or Buddha. All I've seen is his image. That's a threat to what I believe. Okay? So what do people do? They just oppose you. Okay? Or they're going to ridicule you if they're up here in this stage. All right? Because they can't fathom the idea. They can't fathom, no, that can't be true. Because it doesn't fit their lifestyle. It doesn't fit when they go give all that money every Sunday to people. It doesn't fit their lifestyle. They enjoy doing what they're doing. Or they enjoy the entertainment of where they're going. It doesn't fit them. So they ridicule. Because they can't get past this first stage. Okay? Or they go into the second stage and they just, I'm just opposing all that. Okay? Because there's not enough people who support what you're saying. Okay? So they're going to resist because they see it as a threat to everything they're familiar with. Okay? But when they see the supporting evidence of the idea, when they read and they see it for themselves, okay? You corrupting yourself when you make a graven image, okay, of any figure, the likeness of a male or female, then they get it. Or they read over here in 23. Then they see it. They're like, oh, yeah, I see that. I know because I read this to people over the phone. When I read it to them, then they get it. Because a lot of them are jostling between 1 and 2. And when they see that Deuteronomy 4, then they get it. Okay? They see it. Like, oh, yeah, I see that very easily. Okay? And that's the evidence that supports the idea. Yah is alone because he tells you he's alone throughout all of the book of remembrance. Okay? So remember these 3 steps of truth. Okay? And remember this. Okay? We are either in the process of resisting God's truth or in the process of being shaped and molded by his truth. Remember that. Okay? And remember the 3 steps. Okay? For you people out there telling people the truth. Because that's what's going to happen. You're going to run into, a lot of resistance and opposition because they're only at step 1 or they're only at step 2. Only when they step to step 3 can you really get through to them. No matter who it is. Your mother, your father, your sisters, your brothers, and anybody else. Okay? All right. Thank you all for listening. Peace, and y'all bless.